there, welcome back to another episode of World of Tanks with Any Titan. We're on Cliff, we're in the Boilermaker, it's a tier 6 battle. And it's a standard battle as well, so just the normal cap points. The enemy have quite a lot of tank destroyers in their lineup in comparison to us. And actually that makes a significant difference because I think there's just too many of the tank destroyers stay back. 100% sure, but we will see as the battle pans out how things actually develop. So I suppose on Cliff I'd still do the same thing with this tank, but normally I've started to play the Boilermaker more like a tank destroyer. But even if I had a tank destroyer on, unless it was a very fragile tank destroyer, I'd be either go into the middle or go into a position where I can kind of cover the middle. Because the name of the game is to get your gun firing early if at all possible. And there's a lot of tanks going on the western side, on our side. And we've actually, if anything, got a shortage of tanks to cover the middle and the western end of the map. So if I would either be doing what I'm actually doing with the Boilermaker, or I'd be back at the edge of the road or something like that, or the hill there, just where the heavy tank is, covering this location. So we pull up here, the light tank goes in front of me and it reveals the Jagdpanzer IV, where you get a nice flanking shot into, and then he compounds his mistake by continuing to come forward. He just doesn't have the armor or hit points for that. His problem was that I think he had constrained by gun depression. He wasn't able to bring the tank down to bear on the enemy. But that wasn't a good spot to do it. He'd be better off, especially since it turns out he's got very little support, that he'd be just better off staying back and letting us come over the ridge. Because somebody's bound to. And if we didn't come over the ridge here, we would come over the ridge coming around the western side of the map as well, or something, you know. So I've come around here. There was only the OI, as far as you can see, in the Jagdpanzer IV. There doesn't seem to be any other enemy tanks. We're going to poke the side of it here. The Excelsior has moved through and hasn't spotted anybody, but we are down 2 tanks, and we're losing over here at the western side of the map because the 2 tanks have gained the high ground, and one of them is up against a light tank. The other's up against a heavy. Yeah, it's medium against the heavy and the heavy against the light. So I put a round into the RL-44, and the RL-44 is now effectively a one-shot kill, or close enough to it. So come around and we finish him off, and that's it. The heavy tank has dealt with his tank, and I make a mistake here by overestimating the slope of the ground. I'm going to have to show myself too much before I can bring my gun to bear. And there's an absolution coming up. Now the absolution makes a mistake. He makes a go from me, because one-on-one an absolution will take out a Boilermaker. But the thing is, he's not one-on-one. He's taking fire from the other heavy tank. He's now pulling into cover to try and get out of it, but he's exposing his weakest armor to me to do it. But the thing is, he's also potentially under fire from, well, the artillery, because he slowed down and stopped. But it enabled us now to catch up in tank numbers. And we haven't seen quite a few of the enemy tank destroyers, so I suspect to see one of the problems that they've had is that they've camped round back at the base, which is very common for tank destroyers in this map. But it also means that those tank destroyers did not have their gun in the game. And the battle is often won by the people who can bring the most guns to play as early as possible in the battle and for as long as possible, so that if your gun is in the game early and you're firing at the enemy, then you're going to have an effect, even if you don't necessarily even hit or penetrate. But the fact that you're firing at the enemy from a direction, if the enemy's you're under fire from multiple directions, you're going to be a lot less effective. So we poke up here anyway, and we found 2, and then we pull back and we found 3, and we're getting some assistance hits already. Now I don't want to poke up at the same place exactly, And we've lost the spot, so we're not longer detected. So I come up here again, and no sign of anybody. There is the Hellcat. We put a round in, and then we just pull back immediately because the Hellcat will have had time to bring these guns to my location and shoot me if I just stay around there, and will penetrate the front of a Boilermaker with any difficulty whatsoever. So now it's a question of coming up again. There is one of the other, a tier 4 tank destroyer, but a turreted tank destroyer might have been better off again deployed elsewhere at the start of the game rather than his current location. And so the Hellcat's just a one shot, but we had to commit to go down the cliff in order to get that shot off. However, it was the second last tank in the enemy team. And there is only the ARL V39 that was holding the corner against everybody remaining on the enemy team, and well, his position was doomed as soon as there was somebody behind him. And that's it, game over. So we have done a decent amount of damage for a tier 6 medium tank. Over 1300 damage, 600 assisted. We got a first class mastery out of that, 3 killed. 3 destroyed enemy tanks. And we came number 2 by experience, behind a very good score for an absolution, like 6 kills. 6 kills, always respectable. 1600 base experience, that's pretty good. 2300 damage. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.